Good morning, Mark. Let's start with the discussion on hostages. The CIA director, man you know well, is en route to try to broker a deal. He's become one of President Biden's most trusted hands in this matter. What do we think happens here? Hamas and Israel, they're still, as we just noted, they're not in agreement yet as to what needs to get done. What's your analysis?
So, Jonathan, I think this is, the last great hope for some kind of deal. And I don't believe that CIA Director Bill Burns, Mossad Director David Barnea, the Qatari Prime Minister, as well as the Egyptian intelligence chief, plus even reportedly the Israeli Shin Bet, the domestic internal service director Ronen Bar, I don't think they would all descend upon Europe if there wasn't some kind of hope. So what does this mean now? So in essence, the deal that Israel has put forward is for perhaps a 1 to 2 month ceasefire. And then you have this, release of hostages, over 130, actually less are unfortunately are alive. I think there's 20 or 25 bodies that Hamas has. But in return, Israel would release security prisoners. But that's it. And so the real sticking point is that Israel does not want to have a cessation in hostilities. So I think this meeting is designed, in essence, because of the presence of both the Egyptians and the Qataris. This meeting is designed to put pressure on Hamas to accept what for them would be a limited deal. But this is it in terms of red lines for Israel. I don't think they will ever agree to a permanent cessation in hostilities. So really interesting development. And again, the meeting should take place probably this weekend in Europe. I think France was the location that I heard.
Yeah, Paris, a likely option there. Certainly, Israel has not always taken the United States' advice as to how to conduct themselves during this war. Let's shift to the Red Sea now and the role that China could be playing. Jake Sullivan, as noted, meeting with the foreign minister there. And it's been pointed out that the Red Sea shipping, that any kind of hindrance there actually impacts China even more than the United States. So it would seem logical that they would play a role. Talk to us about whether you think the Beijing will step up their efforts, but also just what does this tell us big picture about potentially improving relations between the United States and China?
Yeah, I think this is a really good move because the issue of kind of the Red Sea is not the Houthis, per se. This is the idea of keeping, the international economy going. It's keeping shipping lanes open, and China has a lot a lot in its favor that they would want this to continue. So, the idea that we're going to engage the Chinese is smart. China could put some pressure on Tehran. And Jonathan, as we've talked many times before, anytime the U.S. and China are talking, that's better than where relations were in the past. Will this have an effect? Perhaps, but it's the right move by the administration, and I'm glad to see that this is occurring.
And Mark, very briefly, as we know, the border talks in Congress have bogged down, meaning aid not getting to Ukraine. Give us your brief analysis. Just how dire is the situation growing for Kyiv as they're running out of ammunition?
Well, the Ukrainians have been very clear that this is really serious right now. They are running out of ammunition. And so, the notion that, domestic issues in the United States is prohibiting aid getting to Ukraine, in my view, as a kind of someone who's and was a foreign policy practitioner, this is appalling. This is the reputation of the United States. And there is a deal on the table right now that all sides could agree to. But, unfortunately, the House Republicans, pressured by former President Trump, are going to reject this. And at the end of the day, this is the reputation of the United States on the line here. And, of course, this could cost some Ukrainian lives. This is really serious. And you can only hope that somehow this will be resolved. But I'm not so sure.
And we've heard from senior lawmakers in recent days that if America fails to follow through on its commitment to Ukraine, the rest of the world will never take us at our word again. Retired CIA officer Mark Polymeropoulos, thank you for starting us off this morning. We really appreciate it.